I know I'm going to sound crazy to a lot of you, but this is something finally the United Nations, I think, should be doing. Protecting the citizens of Earth. The UN is now gathering the world's finest minds to prevent another intergalactic kick in the asteroid. Between the one that came close and didn't hit and the meteor that came a lot more than close and did hit, the folks who hold endless meetings on issues that don't really matter are finally focusing on a very real threat to mankind that does matter, namely its extinction. I say finally a constructive use of the UN's time. Do my panelists agree? Ron Meyer back with us, Kayleigh, McEnany, and Caroline Hellman. Caroline, do you agree with that?
I do, Neil. We agree on this issue.
There we go.
Maybe the two of us have just watched one too many movies, but I think this needs a global response. And the fact that, we are facing up to 150 hits in the next 100 years and maybe even more once NASA starts scanning means that we need to do something preventive. And the problem is that once we know an asteroid is going to hit or a near-Earth object is going to hit, it's too late. So it really does require, prior planning, and the UN is the ideal body to do that.
What do you think, Kayleigh?
I don't hold out much hope for this UN body. They couldn't even run an oil for food program without mass corruption and inefficiency. So I hardly think that they can stop an asteroid. That being said, I agree this is a welcome departure from what they usually do, criticizing U.S. foreign policy. We provide funds for 1/4 of the UN's function. Criticizing Israel, at least they're destroying an asteroid instead of destroying Israel.
Well, that's the goal, at least.
Response.
Do you have any confidence they'll succeed at this, Ron? What do you think?
I think I actually disagree with Ronald Reagan on something which is rare for me. I think the 9 scariest words in the English language are, I'm from the UN and I'm here to help. I have absolutely no confidence in them. Frankly, I'd rather send Han Solo out there to take care of an asteroid than the UN. What have they done right?
How did you know that was their first recommendation? How did you get wind of their early report?
Inside information. I know. Well, you could basically predict how the UN's going to work, right? It's going to be something that doesn't make sense. That's why I'm not that confident in this, Neil. I frankly think that the United States should worry about its own affairs and make sure that we're protected. And if we aren't taking steps to make sure an asteroid doesn't hit the United States, we're doing our citizens a disservice if we're trusting the UN, which has been totally dysfunctional, absolutely worthless. Ronald Reagan actually brought Star Wars up,
but you're not saying the hell with Belgium. We'll protect ourselves from an asteroid. But if one hits Belgium, that takes out the world's chocolate, my friend. You got to think this through.
No, that's legitimate. No, that's true. That's true.
Yeah. So Caroline, what I'm thinking of looking at this, and believe me, I'm a frequent critic of the United Nations and how they botch a lot of things, but this is essentially a league of nations, to Woodrow Wilson's earlier inspiration, and that it should be focused on protecting the people of Earth. And what is a greater threat to the people of Earth than something coming from space and obliterating them? Now, this begs the question, what do they come up with? And what do they spend the money on? And who benefits? But do you think they can get past that sort of stuff?
I do. I think like most decisions that the UN makes, it will benefit the United States more than most other nations. We'll certainly be at the forefront of that with NASA and our technological capabilities. But, the UN has done exactly what it set out to do, humanitarianism and peacekeeping. We haven't had World War III. Tell the kids in Somalia and Haiti that the UN has been ineffective. Tell the refugees from, who seek asylum through UNHCR that they've been an ineffective organization. I actually think the UN has been incredibly effective, and the fact of the matter is we in the United States have benefited the most from this organization.
So even when they cozy up to dictators or they cozy up to people of ill repute, that's okay?
All too often we see the UN just doing that, elevating these dictators always to the detriment of Israel. The Human Rights Council, 40% of the resolutions they put out were aimed at Israel, ignoring, Nigeria, Sudan, China.
But what if we could be united and look past whatever our differences are between us and focus on our common enemy, an asteroid that could destroy us?
Absolutely, and that's why I think you're spot on with this. This is what the UN was set out to do, and finally they're doing it. I'm told by scientists I read there's an asteroid that's supposed to hit us April 13th, 2036. So that gives the UN plenty of time to coalesce this global solution.
Well, you would have to worry about that, but it'd be a non-issue for me. But I don't care about that because I'll dodge that one. Ron, your final thoughts on whether the UN can do at least this right?
Well, I think a body that empowers Hamas, it empowers Iran. the Sudan government as well. I mean, what we were just talking about shouldn't be trusted with the security of the United States of America. Russia's on the Security Council. China's on the Security Council. Those are, frankly, countries we can't trust right now, and I'd love to be able to trust them, but we can't. We have to take our own security into account, and I agree with you. This is a legitimate threat. Asteroids do come and hit Earth every day. I mean, we have things that we have to worry about and make sure that, like was just was being said, that we have the right precautions in place. The right precaution, rather, is not to trust the UN. Like I said, we might as well trust Han Solo. It's not a good fix.
All right, guys, I want to thank you all. Again, this is just something they want.